You believe that pro-legalizers are lying to the American people. What are they lying about?
Well, listen, this is Big Tobacco 2.0, right? We're bringing the bad old days of tobacco from the 1930s, where we have an industry whose business it is to get people addicted. It's all about money. So when you talk about 68% of Americans, for example, agreeing with legalization, many of those people agree with decriminalization, which is different. I don't want people going to prison for pot. I don't think you should be locked up. I'm not saying you're a bad person, but that is very different than what we have now, which is mass commercialization and an industry making money off of saying this is harmless. And it's what Big Tobacco did for 100 years until we sort of woke up as a country and saw, wait a minute, we've been lied to and we have the death count. We're now beginning to see that with marijuana. So you shouldn't go to prison, but we don't need to have billboards of, pot gummy bears and all these kid-friendly products that, drug dealers didn't come up with. So, there's an industry that's laughing all the way to the bank, and they're laughing based on the ignorance that we're being told from this industry.
What do you say to all that?
Marijuana is far safer than alcohol. And like alcohol prohibition before it, marijuana prohibition has been a disastrous failure. The reason Americans think that marijuana should be legal is because they've seen that the lies that they're told about it aren't true. Well, we have 82,000 people in America dying every year from the chronic impacts of the health impacts of alcohol. Marijuana isn't even shown to increase mortality. 2,000 people every single year are dying from alcohol poisoning. Cannabis has not been shown to cause a fatal overdose. I've sat in hearing room after hearing room with people that are volunteering their time, former law enforcement, former doctors, people that care about racial and social justice, and to portray them as if they're working for some shill of a company is just offensive, and it's offensive to me.
All of them, but unfortunately, the members of your board of directors are of the organization. I don't think you, but your board. They're profiting off of marijuana being legalized. They are CEOs of companies who make money the more that you sell. So the reason why every president, from Barack Obama, who I worked for, to George Bush, to to even Joe Biden, opposes legalization, as well as every single major medical association in this country that opposes it, is because they see that we don't need another legal drug. Alcohol, the train has left the station. 80% of people drank during Prohibition. That's why you couldn't prohibit it. We're still way below that for marijuana, so I think we're comparing apples and oranges there. But there's a reason why every medical group and, frankly, a lot of leaders from both parties, they don't want to see this legal.
Well, let me ask you a question. Anytime somebody is selling me something, I just kind of like to know what their agenda is, what their stake in the game is. And you do have a stake in the game. You get paid to sell marijuana legalization, right?
So I graduated in the top 10% of my class at law school. I could have been making much more if I'd gone into private practice. If my goal were to make money instead of devoting my life to an issue that I care about and to making the world a better place, this is not the career path I would have taken. So
you want to legalize marijuana to make the world a better place?
Yes, I honestly believe that young people should not use marijuana. So we support legalization for adults 21 and older and people with serious illnesses with their doctor's recommendation. So if I was talking to a young person, I would tell them, don't use cannabis at all, and especially don't use highly potent products and don't use it regularly.
Why not?
Because you have more of a risk of cannabis use disorder and other negative effects if you use cannabis as a young person. And there is a risk of dependence too. There are risks, and there are more the younger you are. I don't want my nieces and nephews, I don't want young people using marijuana unless they're seriously ill and it's to treat their medical condition. Now for adults, my own husband, I prefer him to use marijuana to over-the-counter medicines. I was terrified because he has chronic pain and he was using so much ibuprofen. And then he also went and had surgery for a kidney tumor, which may or may not have been caused by it, hopefully not. And they gave him opioids. And he didn't have to take the opioids because of cannabis.
Do you have a story or a question for me? Click the link in the description and tell me what in the world is going on.